So it's the middle of the night. Somebody bangs on your front door. They're trying to break in. They're trying to take your life. What do you do as a proper, safe weapons owner? I'm going to show you. Timer, ready. Okay, step one. You have to get this fully locked case. And remember, the key never can be by the case because you never want little ones to ever get to the case. And always remember, you never want just one lock. Why would you do one lock when you can have two locks? Okay, locks off. Bam. Case is open. Remember, ammo should never actually be in the weapon itself. So what you need to do is now, you need to properly load the weapon. And for example, this Glock 19 holds 15 rounds. You never know what they're gonna have, right? Criminals never abide by the law. That's why they're called a criminal in the first place. Okay? Do you really think they're just gonna come in with a lawful handgun? No. They're gonna come in with something that they stole, right? It could be a fully automatic machine gun. You don't know. So you wanna make sure that you have at least 15 rounds in the clip. Okay, I still have plenty of time, right? My loose little deadbolt on the front door with my little 2-inch nails, there should be good. Okay, now, have to load the weapon, and we're off.
The home defense is very serious, and if done improperly, you can lose your life. And I'm not trying to scare anybody by saying that, but it's the reality. The likelihood of a break-in is very low, but the reality is if there is a break-in, especially in Middle Georgia, there's probably going to be a gun involved. We live in a red state. Our gun laws are phenomenal here. And if you are 21 years of age and you are what's called a lawful weapons carrier, meaning you don't have, let's say, domestic violence charges and you're legally allowed to own a firearm, guess what? You can now carry a firearm concealed anywhere that you want in the state of Georgia as long as that building doesn't tell you that it's not allowed to be there. So if I'm a burglar and I'm going to break into a home, knowing that the people's homes that I'm going to break into, if they most likely have a gun, what am I going to bring? Probably going to bring a gun. So in this video, I really want to show you a few steps on how to properly defend your home, on how to get it ready for home defense, on how to even make sure that the intruder can't even get in the first place, so you don't even have to worry about that. So stay tuned. I'm super excited about this video. I am a former Army Ranger, a former police officer, and the knowledge I'm going to show you is what I've actually done with my own home, so I got your back. At the end of the day, it's a place that you want to make sure that's safe. Now, when it comes to crime rates here in Middle Georgia, you really don't have a whole lot to worry about. We're not a major city. Crime rate is not high. Again, like I said, we're a red state, so we're allowed to have firearms, so the likelihood of somebody breaking into your home is super low. But to start things off, I really think a good home security system is number one. And you can go to the link below. I don't have any sponsors for this video or anything like that. Who I use is Vivint. And the reason is I called every single home security system person in the world, okay, when I bought my house, and it was so annoying. It was so annoying. I would get on call after call and say, hey, with the security system, if somebody's breaking in through the front door, the back door, maybe a window in my laundry room, is it the garage door? Like, I need to know, does your system provide that? And time again, no. Oh, well, if somebody breaks in and glass breaks, then the alarm will go off and people are notified. Police officers are notified. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I am in charge of defending my house until the police show up. So I need to make sure that your system, let's say somebody breaks in through the front door, the security system goes off and it says front door. Does it do that? No. Time and time after again, every single person that I went through, I'm not gonna, put on blast other security companies, so I'm not gonna use their names. Every single person except for Vivint said no. And I promise you, Vivint was like my last option because I hate people that knock on my door, and those people are ruthless, okay? So I did go with Vivint. And now, when it comes down to the security system itself, what I prefer is the automated locks that you can use through your cell phone. I literally do not even carry a key with me because my locks, they're by code, or I can unlock and lock them through my cell phone. It's super easy. I don't have to worry about it that way. And also, when it comes down to video cameras on the outside of your house, I'm just going to go with what I know, and it's the wired Vivint camera. Now, when it comes down to it, any wired system I really think is important. Here's the reason. So when I was a police officer and I would go to these car break-ins, right? People would always, and I promise you, if you park outside in the middle of the night, no matter where you live, somebody will pull on your car handle. It's what's going to happen. They're going to pull on the car handle and they're going to steal your stuff. Okay. Now there's these devices on Amazon. They're like $15. Okay. You can get them dirt cheap. Hook that sucker up to a car battery, flip the switch, whole neighborhood's down. So if you have Ring doorbells, if you even have the Vivint doorbell, you know, and it's just one of those stick and paste, it's through Wi-Fi, those things will get cut off. Meaning that if anybody drives by your house and tries to break in and your system is wireless, it will not work. So you need to make sure that you have a wired security system. And if anything that you have, it needs to be on cellular, not on Wi-Fi. Might cost a little bit more money, but that's the reality of it. If somebody wants to break in, they're going to do it the right way. And if I can get a car battery and $15 piece of equipment off of Amazon, probably not going to be too difficult. Then on top of that, I have spotlights on mine, and I have the fancy ones that if somebody walks by and it's not an animal, I have it set up that way, and it's a person, the spotlight will spot them, an alarm goes off. It's like beep, 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 beep. You can design it however you want, say whatever you want, like you're on camera, whatever you want. And then the spotlight actually goes from like wide to center, and it follows them around. That alone should deter a burglar, especially if they have a Wi-Fi jammer on and then all of a sudden your stuff still works. That's number one, okay? Number two, we want to start defending the outside of the home. I'm not talking sandbags, okay, and all that kind of stuff. What I'm talking about is your windows, every major door that's outside, your garage door, and then the locking mechanism. So we'll start with the windows. I don't have those little things on my windows that, like, if they like go up, like people can sense them. I live in a new construction house. My house is about a year old. If anybody tries to pry a window open, the glass breaks. All new windows for the most part are like that. So what I actually have is I have glass sense breakers in pretty much every room of my entire home. I even have one in my office right here. So if any of the windows break, immediately they'll say glass break sensor, office, glass break sensor, office. And then after. So like I know somebody's trying to break in through a window in my office. Okay, and the reason I say that is we're gonna get to later in the video, we're gonna go over a little safe room option. You need to know where the intruder's located, and you need to make sure that your family's safe, especially if you have a firearm and something like that happens. You always need to make sure that what's between your muzzle and the perpetrator, especially if they have another weapon. This is not criminal, it's not advice. I'm just saying this is just the reality of firearms. You need to know what's between your muzzle and the target, right, the perpetrator, and what's between them and beyond. Because if you're shooting at somebody and let's say they're shooting at you, or worst case scenario, okay, I pray that this never happens. If you accidentally shoot through a wall and shoot into your child's bedroom, you cannot do that under any circumstances, okay? You are defending your home against somebody that's trying to harm you, not harm your own family. So we're gonna get into that later. But essentially step number one, glass sense breakers, way more effective than that stuff. And if your windows are so old that somebody can break into them and they don't break, get some windows, man, okay? You gotta figure that out. Number two on the list when it comes down to it, what you want to do is you want to change out the screws in all of your deadbolts or any door that faces like outside. So you're going to see these little tiny mini screws that most people screw into the back plates, right, of the locking mechanism. You don't really have to worry about the lock itself. Those things are pretty sturdy. They're already within your door. And for example, my doors on the outside of the house are metal. So for metal to break metal, somebody has to get like a battering ram to get inside of my home. I don't have any wooden doors that face outside my property specifically for that purpose. So if you want to upgrade your doors, you certainly can. But if you don't want to change your door out, just get longer screws. So like those crappy little 2-inch screws or 1.5-inch screws that are on those back plates, get some thick boys. Now, you might have to take the back plate off, drill a little bit of a bigger hole so the screws can go through. But if you get some of those like long 4-inch like reinforced steel screws and put those things in, people can kick your door for hours, okay? And most likely it will not break, okay? Even if I didn't have a metal door, I would have to break through the wood, and the likelihood of me breaking through wood like that with even boots on is very, very unlikely. The only way that you'd be able to break in at that point is literally to destroy a locking mechanism through like C4, okay? Or just explosive. And if somebody has explosive and they're trying to get into my house, probably the federal government, okay? That's not gonna happen. But next on the list, trying to think off the top of my head, your garage door. You need a sensor on your garage door, okay? if your garage door goes up, you need to understand something, especially here in Georgia. I don't know why it's this way. That you usually don't have locks on your garage. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to take the time to lock and unlock my garage every time I'm inside. Now, it's kind of crazy, but it's the truth. Just get one of those tilt sensors, okay? So essentially the tilt sensor is up and down. Once it goes up even a little bit and it tilts, your alarm system, if it's programmed and on, it's going to go off. But number two, let's say, you're just in your house and your alarm system's not on, my system will say garage door if it tilts. So like, let's say even my wife comes home, right? She's at the grocery store right now and it goes up, my house says beep, 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 garage door, right? So if you're in your house and somebody tries to open your garage door, even if your system's not on, same with the front door, same with the back door, same with my glass break sensors, like all of this stuff still works, even if the system is off. But guess what? It just doesn't set the alarm off when one of those things happens. So you can have peace of mind. Your cell phone will send you a little notification, all that kind of stuff. If you have Vivint. Now, if you don't have Vivint, you can literally do all of this stuff and just find a company that you trust. I just went with them because that's who I use. And the last one that I wanted to talk about is motion sensors. I don't have a motion sensor because my largest dog is 60 pounds and he'll set it off all the time. I set my house off like away or stay or anything like that. Stay, I have a program that if I did have a motion sensor, it wouldn't go off. But if I put away, for example, you can actually have like your motion sensor, and if something motions in the house, it'll set it off. I don't want that happening every time I leave the house. But if you want a motion sensor, go ahead. Also, you can get cameras on the inside of your house. If you are, I kind of think you're a weirdo. At that point, are you really here for home security, or are you spying on your family? You need counseling. You don't need a home security system. Now, next, let's talk a little bit about home defense. When it comes down to home defense, I'm just going to be fully transparent with you. I don't want to get injured, okay? I've lived, I feel like, a pretty long life. I've been injured plenty of times. I don't want to do that anymore, okay? Or ever again. Let's say you want to hand fight somebody coming into your home, okay? You can go right ahead, but what happens when they have a big old knife in their back pocket and you get shanked 20 times? Just being real, when it comes down to it. I am never going to get into a knife fight, okay? And if I do, I'm going to get far enough away from them and run away. Or if I have a gun, I'm going to get far enough away and then command them to put the knife down. And if they charge me, they're going to get shot in the chest, okay? Knives are nothing to mess around with. Go watch YouTube videos of how fast people can close the distance with a knife. By the time a police officer, this is a video I was watching not too long ago, it's called the 21-foot rule. Somebody can close the distance with a knife 21 feet before somebody knowingly can draw their holster, aim, and fire. I'm not doing it. So what you want to do, if you're a woman, go to the Warner Robins Police Department, go to Perry Police Department once a month. I know Warner Robins specifically does this once a month. I think Perry takes a little bit longer. I think they have a few classes throughout the year. They have a women's only 3-day firearms class. That day one, they teach you self-defense rules, right? Like the code, the law, how you're properly allowed to operate a weapon, when you're allowed to use it, and like the different laws within home defense, okay, and self-defense for that matter. So you're abiding by the law and you're not just shooting someone when you're not legally allowed to, okay, and all of those things. And then day 2 and day 3, you're actually going to shoot guns, and then you're going to qualify with them, and it's a lot of fun. All you have to do, I think it's free, but you just bring some ammo, okay, and a gun. That would be my recommendation. I could get into what kind of gun you should have and all this kind of stuff, and this video is going to be 5 hours long, okay? But, that's essentially what you should do, is have a firearm as home defense if you're legally allowed to have a firearm, for a multitude of reasons, okay? Now, when it comes down to safety, you don't just leave your gun out on the table so a child can come and play with it. But number one, if you have a gun, you should do firearm safety with your child, no matter the age. Okay, saying that, hey, this is a tool used to defend the home. This is not a toy. We do not play with it. You do not squeeze the trigger. You don't do anything like this because it hurts people, right? But it's meant to hurt bad people if that ever happens. And then you can slowly take them to the range and train them and teach them and all that kind of stuff. But my recommendation would be one of two things. Number one, because we don't have kids and people don't randomly walk through my house, I have mine readily accessible, just not out in the open, pretty much located in every single room of the house. I'm kind of crazy. So if you break into my house and I'm in my office or my spare bedroom or my kitchen or a random bathroom or my bedroom bathroom or my bedroom closet, I know where my stuff is and I can go and execute the threat, right? No, not execute the threat. They might not be trying, okay? Warning, I do not just shoot people that walk into my house, okay? Now, if somebody's trying to harm me or my family and they have a weapon, yes, okay, that would happen. I pray that that never happens. I hope that day never comes. Just reality of life, okay? But when it comes down to it, that's number one, like just hide your stuff, but know where it's located. And then number two, there's some really cool locks. Now, I am not saying that you just lock your weapons up. They have fingerprint locks where it's like a nice little rectangle. You put your thumb and the gun like comes out. There's some cool stuff if you absolutely need to lock something away. Number two, please, for the love of home defense, do not keep your gun unloaded. I cannot tell you how many videos that I've watched of people squeezing the trigger because somebody's pointing a gun at them or the gun's at the ground and they're in their house or a store and it goes click, okay? It goes click, right? The firing pin has been struck and it struck nothing. Now you have to rack around in, it makes a loud sound, and then you have to go back. Number one, in the most stressful situation you've ever been in your entire life. And number two, when somebody most likely already has a weapon and they're trying to hurt you, okay? Because if you squeeze the trigger, they have to have a weapon in their hand, okay? Especially, and you should command them to leave, yell at them and say, get out of my house. I have a gun. I will shoot. You have one warning. And whatever you have to do, this is, again, don't sue me. Don't use this as legitimate, like, advice. What you should do is get training and read the laws and abide by the laws, okay? I'm just saying, do not keep your gun unloaded. Keep it loaded, locked away properly, somewhere that's easily accessible, please. And once you get the proper training and everything with a firearm, last but not least, you want to make a safe room. And I know this sounds crazy, but the reality is you will want this if this ever happens. In your safe room, you should have a reinforced door. You should have reinforced walls. I know that sounds crazy, but if somebody shoots through the wall at you or through the door, you want to make sure that the round doesn't go through. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that watches this video is going to go to that length, but if you do, I'm saying that's perfect. And what you want to make sure in that room, there's no windows, or if that's your escape plan, if you're trying to escape your house, that's definitely an option. To have a window, I'm just, kind of paranoid about it because let's say somebody breaks in the middle of the night and you flash a flashlight through the window and you see movement inside. Now they know where you're at. But also you want to make sure that you have a phone located in there in case you don't have your cell phone on you to, alert the authorities. You want some water, first aid kit, right? When it comes down to it, maybe you need some quick clot. Quick clot is this cool thing that if you have a gunshot wound or something, you can kind of stuff it in the wound and it clots 5 times faster than normal gauze and wrap up some wounds. Or maybe, you're the man of the house and you got really scared and you stubbed your toe real bad. You can get a little splint for your toe, because you're running away from the bad guy that just broke in your house, whatever. Okay, but safe room is definitely going to be the last thing on the list. Hey, and there you have it. That is my home defense video. Now, I am a residential real estate agent. I help people buy, sell, and invest in homes all the time. But also, I want to make sure the people that buy a home through me can properly defend that home and make sure that you have the peace of mind when you live there. So if you need anything at all, please shoot me a text message at 478-888-7808. I'd love to be able to help you and your family with all your real estate needs. But again, if you need anything, just let me know. And also, go and check out this video on how to buy a house in our local area, because if you're looking at this video, you might be buying your next. I got your back for life.